Okay, guys, we got Ben here. We'll start off. Mike Pursuta, go ahead.
How's it going, Ben?
Mike, how are you?
Not bad.
Good.
Your reactions with your receivers individually or collectively, have they been or will they be any different this week coming off of that game Wednesday when there were so many drop passes all across the board?
No, there's nothing different needs to happen. We'll still communicate. We still talk. We still throw guys the ball. There's no reason for us to, or me in particular, to feel any kind of way about that. I'm going to throw guys the ball that are open the way the reads dictate. And so it's just one of those games. I need to be more accurate. All around, we need to just be better. So, no, nothing's going to change today or this week.
Dale Lawley.
Yeah, Ben, you've gone now, I believe, 199 passes without being sacked. Now that's
there you go, Dale. There you go.
I know it's not the same as not being hit. You've been hit during that time, but combination of you getting rid of the football, your line blocking, obviously these guys are going to be a big test to that, though, this week.
Yeah, and I never want to disrespect anybody you play, but arguably these guys with they're rushing 4 guys. Every once in a while they'll bring 5, but they put their stock and their money and their picks and their 4-down guys, and they're some really good and really talented guys, and maybe arguably the 4 best in terms of collectively. Who knows? You have to ask the linemen; they're the ones blocking them. But my guys up front have done a great job this week. This year so far, especially the last few games, of protecting me, and so I'm always thankful for that. And I have to look into expanding my Christmas gift, I guess, ideas.
Mark Caboli.
Hey, Ben, I'm sure it's been a gradual thing that happened, but when going from the longer passes to some of the short passing game to the extent you do right now, the throw short and run long, what was your initial thoughts when that was presented to you?
Well, I think it's good alternatives. I know that people kind of beat that dead horse on run game alternatives, things like that. But, we'll still take our shots down the field. Chase had a big in on 3rd down that he caught. We take some shots down the field. You just have to be smart. You have to know when it's right to take those shots, when it's right to take the intermediate ones. And sometimes the ball needs to come out quick on kind of those little screens or the RPOs. So I just, whatever helps us win football games and get the ball in the hands of the playmakers, I think is smart football.
Jerry Dulac.
Hey, Ben, with everything that you've gone through, the commitment, the rehab, whatever doubts you may have, can you imagine what Alex Smith, who's a comparable age, has gone through with everything he's had to endure?
I can't. I don't know to the extent. I know. I believe there was some life-threatening things were thrown out there, and I can't imagine the things that he's gone through. And I know him a little bit, and just am proud of the way that he's been able to, get back on the field and play. I mean, first and foremost, to be able to walk again, but then get back on the field and play and play well. You have to tip your cap to him because that takes determination. It takes perseverance, passion, love for the game, and so it's a pretty awesome story.
Jim Colney.
Yeah, hey, Ben, if you don't mind thinking back 8 or 9 years ago when you had Sanders, Wallace, and Brown, and now you've got another group that's developing at a similar age. Are there similarities, differences between the two groups?
I think the cool thing about this group is there's actually 5 of them. You talk about those 3 back then that were all phenomenal football players and had great careers. We have more than just 3. You've got 5 guys that can get on the field at any time. And really kind of fill in for each other. They all can play each other's spots, which I think is one of the most special things about the group is literally you can plug each guy into each position, each role, and each route, which, we do a lot of that in the kind of no-huddle where we're moving guys around, and they don't blink. They don't second guess. They don't question. It's like when I tell them, hey, let's do this, let's do that, or we call things, they just line up and do it. So I think when you talk about this group, the collectiveness of all 5 of them is what makes them so special.
Joe Rutter.
Yeah, Ben, on that last drive that passed to Washington, what was your level of confidence he was going to come down with it? And what's it been about him that he's able to make these bigger catches this year?
I have 100% confidence in him, or as Pals used to say, 1,000% confidence. I wouldn't have thrown it if I didn't believe in him. Maybe I would have put a little more zip on it, make it a little easier on him. But when you give a guy a chance to make a play and he makes it over and over, then that man should continue to get opportunities. And I think he will continue to get opportunities, as he should, because he puts the work, the time, the conditioning, the mental aspect of it. He deserves to get on the field more, and I think we'll see him.
Brooke Pryor.
Yeah, Ben, I'm curious how, if at all, is your rhythm and the rhythm of the offense affected when you go in and out of no huddle, specifically in the red zone? Because Randy talked about not wanting to pull you guys out of a no huddle situation in the red zone because he doesn't want to disrupt that flow, but in some situations, does it help to pull back? What do you prefer, and what is most effective for this offense?
It's just a rhythm thing. It's a flow thing. It just depends on each situation is a little bit different. Sometimes we've got specific plays that are red zone plays that we can't get to in the no huddle. So I think Coach Randy and I do a great job of communicating and knowing kind of how that flow happens.
Will Graves.
Ben, I'm curious. Randy talked earlier. He said after the game on whatever day it was, Wednesday, he came back here and went to work, and he was looking at film, and he was getting ready to leave, and you texted him saying, "Hey, I'm worrying about Daniels, whatever." Is that on a short week? Is that typical for you immediately after a game to kind of go and start looking ahead, or is just sort of just the nature of the beast in 2020?
Yeah, I mean, short weeks, you got to get as much as you can in. So, I went home and started watching, after put the kids to bed, went and started watching Redskins stuff. And it's just, partially if it's a normal week, I wouldn't say I wouldn't, but I'd probably watch our game and kind of go to bed. But I didn't even watch our game. I just went right to Redskins because the short week, I think, kind of plays a big role in that. I just think that's the smart, prudent thing to do.
Aditi Kinkaball.
Ben, when we were talking to Coach Rivera yesterday, he was talking about how having a veteran quarterback helps speed the development of younger guys, that they don't have to worry about a big piece of it. So you talked about mental warfare the other day and how arduous kind of this whole run is right now. When you think about your role, everything you have seen, everything you have come back with, and all those young guys that Jim was mentioning earlier, what can you do? What do you sort of add to your plate? And specifically, how do you help the process when you do have so many young guys?
Yeah, just try and be there for them, communicate with them, answer questions, just like I said, really be there and communicate. And I think, with this 3 games in 12 days, and lots been made of it. Lots been made of last week's schedule getting pushed around, and kind of by the end of it, I turned from being like upset because you were so dialed in to just it being funny. Like, okay, whatever now. Like, just whatever they tell us to do, just go play. And I think when guys see you take that mindset and that approach of, listen, whatever you say, we're going to go do it. I think that can help. I think guys need to see me, see you go out there and just be like, okay, he's not upset about it. He wants to, he's going to just kind of take this attitude and this mindset of, let's just go play ball. And so that's kind of what I've tried to do for the guys over the last couple of days before leading up to the game. And then now is like, hey, listen, these are the cards we're dealt. We just got to go play ball and just try and lead by example in that way.
Time for a few more. Jenna Harner.
Ben, you mentioned the short week and kind of heading into the Washington game now. What is the biggest area of focus you guys as an offense are honing in on? Do you have to add a little bit extra? Is it kind of dialed back a little bit because of how short things are?
Yeah, we've got a very extensive, as Randy calls it, the back side of the play calling sheet, which is our no-huddle packages, and so we do a lot in that area. So we can pull from that, and those are things that guys have known from day one and way back. We've been doing them for a long time. We have some tweaks here and there. So when you get short weeks, you kind of rely on that stuff that we know and utilize. You still have to have some specialty kind of plays, some game plan things against a defense like this. So we'll have some of that, but rather than throw a bunch of new stuff in, we'll rely on some old stuff we have with smaller changes and moving guys around a little bit.
Ray Fittipaldo.
And one more question on the no-huddle. Randy thinks that you would rather run it once you get a feel for the game. Just wondering if you could talk about when do you like to run it, and do you think it would help sort of jumpstart the offense if you guys went through it a little bit more? It
helps sometimes to kind of feel the defense out. I don't have a problem going with it right from the beginning, because it's, we try and call plays and let the defense adjust to us. We try not to call plays to adjust to the defense. Obviously, you can make changes and adjustments and audibles and things like that, but typically when we get into that flow, we want to call a play and then just find the right matchup. And so sometimes it is a little easier to wait till the third, fourth series because you can kind of get a feel for what they're doing, what looks they're going to give you against certain personnel, against certain formations. So it's really just kind of 6 of one, half dozen another on when you can and should do it. So that's just really Coach Randy and I communicating on the sidelines or before the game if we want to do it early.
Final one, Jerry Dulac.
Hey, Ben, I'm just curious. You go from playing in front of 31,000 in Dallas, half of which are Steeler fans. You come home, it's 5,500. You go to Jacksonville, it's 18,000, most of which are Steeler fans. And then you come out the other day to an empty stadium, not looking for excuses or anything, but what kind of impact does that have on you guys? I mean, it's human nature to, I would imagine, it have some effect on you.
Yeah, it's, you definitely, especially, I've talked about it for 17 years now, that we've got the best fans in all the sports. And like you talked about at Dallas, I'll correct you. There was more than 50% Steeler fans in Jacksonville, 80, 90%. That's just what we're used to. We're used to Steeler fans being everywhere. And when you come home and you're used to the terrible towels, you're used to those fans bring that energy, bring that excitement, especially for, as a quarterback, you kind of play the mental game, so you shouldn't have to, need all that stuff. You kind of want to kind of keep it within yourself. And so for me, it's not as big of a deal. I love the fans. I love the excitement of it. But like for a defense, like, on a third down when they're on defense and you need that crowd to feed that energy and you just don't have it, it is, it's crazy, weird. It's different. I can't imagine trying to be a guy like that really feeds off that energy. But we miss them. I mean, we miss the fans because, especially for this really cool run that we've been on, it'd be awesome to have them in there. But we're still playing for me when they're not in there.
All right, thank you.